Class, we've now reached our section on UFC Vegas 85. So if you would all please join me, do me a favor, grab your backpacks, remove your notebooks, and turn them to the section on UFC Vegas 85 so we can take some notes, go over our findings, and make sure we go into this card with the adequate information so we not only place good bets, but avoid placing the bad bets. Because this week is all about making a profit. We're going to do great this week. We're going to crush it this week. And also, before we get too far into this card, I want to let you guys know the road to UFC finals are this same night. The same night as UFC Vegas 85. I'm not covering them in this video, and here's why. This is going to be special. You guys are going to love this. I've got Chris from the MMA ecosystem. He's going to join me on Tuesday for a live video. We're going to break down that card. We're going to go over the fighters, get a little background information on them, go in-depth, a real in-depth look at the now it's three matchups for that final. So if you aren't familiar with Chris over at the MMA ecosystem, he's got a fantastic channel on everything Asian MMA. Now you're thinking like, oh, like ONE FC, right? Yeah, not just. It's all Asian MMA. He's very good at coming up with the prospects. He's, got the inside scoop on a lot of stuff over there. A good understanding of the fighters, the promotions, all that stuff. So who better to have for the road to UFC finals than Chris? Nobody. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a separate video for that. It's going to be a live stream. It's going to be Tuesday night at some point. Currently, we're looking at like 8:30-ish Central Time, 9:30-ish Eastern. Maybe a little before that, but we're gonna figure it out, right? We're gonna figure it out. But either way, we're breaking down the UFC Vegas 85 card. I hope you've got your notebooks out. I've given you plenty of time. Let's go ahead and get into this card. We've got heavyweights up next, and you know what that means. If they give us a decent line on the over 1.5, we're gonna play it. If not, if it's a 2.5, or if it's just a horrible line, let's move on, because that's about the only thing worth playing in this matchup. But we're gonna break it down. Jamal Pogues 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Thomas Petersen 4-1 in his. A lot of unknowns in this one, guys. A lot of unknowns. For Pogues, dude's a decent wrestler, right? He's got big slams, good top pressure, some scrambling ability, but he's become a boxer now, and he's got good volume and a really clean jab, and that's really what it is. But the problem is when he throws his jab, his other hand does that. It's just that, right? You throw your jab, other hand comes down. He should not do that, but he does it anyway. When you throw your jab, the other hand should be here. One connecting, one protecting. That's what you got to be doing. He does it. I tried when he was fighting Josh Parisian. I tried to tell Josh Parisian. I said, hey, man, I hit him up on Twitter. I said, hey, man, when he throws his jab, that weird spinning back fist you do, it's right there. You're going to hit him on the clean side or on the open side. And he never saw my message. Sucks, man. Somebody's probably running his Twitter for him, and they didn't look at it for him. Or maybe he is, and he just didn't check his request. I tried to help the guy, but he lost the fight. Jamal Pogues jabbed his face in, and that's what happens. Now, for Thomas Petersen, the dude's a solid wrestler. He's got a good body lock takedown, good ground and pound when he gets to fight there. He's run over a lot of folks with that body lock and ground and pound, right? Decent striking. The straights are all right. I don't think he's going to be – I think the cleaner boxing is coming from Pogues, but he's got decent straights. If he gets in tight, the dirty boxing's not bad. It's decent. But he kind of just tucks his chin and just comes in with some strikes in order to get to that body lock. This is what he wants right here. This is what he wants. And he's the better wrestler. I think – although I put both as decent, Pogues is the far better striker, but he just sticks with that jab a lot of the time, which kind of keeps him from being a really high-level striker. He doesn't put together a ton of combinations. Yes, sometimes he'll put a 2 behind it. Yes, he'll mix in some other stuff. But primarily he's working that jab and then just maybe that 1-2 and just not – it's just not quite there for me. The toolbox isn't there for me to upgrade him from decent, right? So these decents are not created equal. All in all, I'm going to take Thomas Petersen for the sake of a pick. I don't like it. We don't really know a ton about him yet. We haven't seen him proven at the UFC level. And Pogues is not bad, and he's got wins at the UFC level, albeit against some of the kind of lower-level competition in the heavyweight division. But let me know what you think. Am I overlooking one of these guys? Do I have something wrong? Did I miss something in my notes? If so, let me know in the comments. I appreciate your feedback, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Lightweights up next. We have Markel Mederos taking on Landon Quinones. Quinones 4-1 in his last 5 fights, 5-0 for Mederos. Quinones, we know he fought Nazar Hakparas. I believe it was short notice. Put on a pretty good performance in that fight, but ultimately came up short, and that is that 1 loss in his last 5. Mederos, this is his debut fight coming off the Contender Series. In this one, Quinones, he's a decent striker. You know what? I'm going to bump that to good, actually. I think he's a good striker. His fight with Haqparast, it led me to think that I'd say he's a good striker. Okay? I had him written down as decent in my notes. That portion was from before the Haqparast fight. I think he's a good striker. He did a darn good job in that fight. He's got good forward pressure. He's got very good kicks. In fact, his leg kicks in that fight particularly showed through as one of his better weapons. But he's also got a very good body kick. He's got good boxing combinations. I do wish he could put his kicks and punches together a little bit more. A lot of times they're separate, the kick or the punch. But whatever, still pretty good. He's a durable guy. He can take a beating and keep on coming. And we saw that in that matchup as well. We saw a lot out of Quinones in that matchup that we didn't get to see from him on the regional scene because of the level of competition, for sure. Sure, on the Ultimate Fighter, he got tapped out right away by a triangle from Jason Knight. Jason Knight's legit, guys. He's really good. Very talented fighter. I understand he also just lost over in BKFC. It's a different thing, right? It's a different thing. You can't use jiu-jitsu in BKFC, whatever. But he does have good wrestling. He's got very good takedowns. He's got an excellent double leg. That's his bread and butter right there is that double leg. He's got a good cage push as well, and the dirty boxing in that cage push is fantastic. Excellent cardio. He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. On the other side, Mederos. We don't know as much about him. We saw a lot on the regional scene. He got an early win in his Contender Series fight. But from what we know, he's a good striker, puts combinations together, and he can do it out of either stance. He's got this kind of awkward style where he's always switching stances, feinting a ton, keeping his hands kind of low. And it's kind of a weird style, but it works for him. So Mederos, and he's definitely got power as well. I mean, we saw that, knee for the knockout, but knees knock guys out either way. But Mederos, good striking. They're both good, but it's totally different styles of striking. In the grappling, he's got a good cage push, and he can get his takedowns up against the cage. Just kind of wearing on guys until that takedown opens up. And he does a good job there. I know a lot of people are going to be on Mederos, and I don't blame them, but Dana White Contender Series guys in their debut, we've seen a lot of them just not perform to the highest level, and this is a close fight. And I think Quinones is going to be able to outwork him. I think he's going to be able to mix in the takedowns when he needs it. And that striking is pretty gosh darn good. And it is better than I thought it was originally. So I'm taking Landon Quinones to get the win here. It's another underdog on this card. There's a lot of them. But I'm taking Quinones. I don't know how confident yet. I don't know if it's a good play. I haven't got that far, but I've decided that I'm taking him to win the fight as a pick. Let me know who you have, and I will see you. We got a flyweight matchup. It's a tricky one to call, but there's not a lot to go on, okay? So we got Luana Carolina. She's taking on Julia Stoliarenko. Neither of these two do I feel very good about, but Stoliarenko, 2-3 in her last 5, 3-2 for Carolina. Carolina, she's a pretty good striker. She's got pretty good volume. The tie clinch is probably her best area. She's got good knees and elbows from there. She's got decent takedown defense, but once you get her to the mat, she's going to struggle off of her back. For Stoliarenko, she's got powerful striking and good forward pressure, but she's quite unpolished there. The grappling, she's got solid grappling. Throws are good, but the armbar, she's an armbar specialist. She has 11 wins in her career. 10 of them are by first-round armbar. Here's the thing. Here's how you're going to play this one. Here's I think you should play this one. You can get Luana Carolina at plus 100 right now. Cool. Toss your play on that. For the exact same amount, play Julia Stoliarenko, probably by submission if you're going to play it safe, at plus money when that drops. If you want to get risky, play her by round 1 submission because it's probably going to be a round 1 armbar, which is how I think this fight ends. Julia Stoliarenko by round 1 armbar. It's how she wins fights, and I think she can get it done here, but it's low confidence. If you're playing this one at all, the way that I said is probably the safest way to play it. I don't see a knockout or a decision for Stoliarenko. Then again, who knows? Crazier things have happened. Let me know who you have. I'll see you in the featherweight. We have Blake Bilder taking on Jung Young Lee. But really quick, hey guys, if you haven't done it already, go down, like this video. I do appreciate it greatly. Let's break down this matchup. Jung Young Lee, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, 4-1 for Blake Bilder. This is an interesting matchup here because Blake Bilder in his last matchup did not look good whatsoever. Everybody was on him. He was a big favorite. He just didn't look good. He didn't show up to that fight per se. Jung Young Lee, on the other hand, dude kind of does what he does, right? He's a fast starter. He's got good striking, and he basically just turns everything into a brawl, and that's good for him because he excels in a brawl. The guy, if he can get this fight into a brawl, Jung Young Lee is going to have the advantage, and it's going to be wild to think that because most of the time brawls are not what you would expect for for a good thing for someone. Usually that it's anybody's fight. Anybody can get knocked out in this sense. They're swinging hammers in there. Who knows what's going on? But the guy just does well in a brawl for two reasons. One, he hits pretty hard and he's got good striking, but also because he can get the fight to the mat and he's got very slick Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He gets the fight to the mat in those exchanges, in those brawls. Whether he's getting the takedown, getting taken down, it does not matter because he's an armbar specialist. He can hit it from a lot of different positions and he's very, very quick with it. Jung Young Lee is a finisher. He's got excellent arm bars, and he's pretty gosh darn good in a brawl. That's him in a nutshell. On the other hand, Blake Bilder, he's an aggressive wrestler, and a good one at that. He's got solid takedowns, and he likes to take your back and go for the rear naked choke. But his takedown defense isn't actually all that good. He can be taken down in his own right. On the feet, he's got very powerful striking. He throws everything he can into the punches, but his striking defense is lax as well. This guy is just all offense and not a whole lot of defense, essentially. That's what we see out of Blake Bilder. For me in this matchup, I'm taking Jung Young Lee. And why do I say that? Because I think he's going to get an armbar in one of these exchanges, and that's what I just see happening. So we're going Jung Young Lee by armbar. We're getting real specific here. Let me know in the comments who you have, and I'll see you with the welterweights. Themba Gorimbo takes on Pete Rodriguez. Rodriguez, he's only 5-1 on the career, 4-1 in the last 5 fights. So for Rodriguez, we don't know a ton about him. We know that Gorimbo has 11-4 on his career, so more than double the experience. He's 3-2 in the last 5. Not only is it a big experience advantage for Gorimbo, it's a massive height and reach advantage because Pete Rodriguez is 5'9" with a 73-inch reach, and he's going to be staring across the cage at someone who is 6'1" with a 77-inch reach. We don't know a ton about Pete Rodriguez. Like I said, we know he's a fast starter. We know he's got powerful striking. We know he's going to come forward. He's going to eat one to give one, and he's durable as heck. That's what we know about Pete Rodriguez. That's it. That's all we know. We don't know a ton else. What do we know about Gorimbo? Not a lot more, but we definitely know more. I mean, we've got a bigger sample size here, right? We got 15 fights to work with. He's got good striking. He's got good forward pressure in his own right. He's got solid kicks. He kind of looks for counters a lot of times too, which can either make for lower output if he doesn't have somebody willing to engage, not what he's going to get here, or it can just make for him kind of just trying to pick his shots and sometimes getting caught if he's not quick enough. But I don't think he's going to worry about that here because he's way longer. So the striking defense is going to be fine because he does use his range really well. So it's not like he's fighting somebody else that's close in his height. So Gorimbo probably going to have the pure striking advantage. Rodriguez has the power advantage, but, you know, whatever. Decent grappling on the Gorimbo side. We don't know a ton about the grappling of Pete Rodriguez. We do know that Gorimbo's got decent takedowns, and if he gets on top, he's got pretty darn good ground and pound. He does tend to struggle off of his back, but I just don't see that as an issue here. And there's going to be a lot of people this week telling you to pick Pete Rodriguez because they're dog hunting, right? They want a nice underdog. And I'm not going to say that they're necessarily wrong. Pete Rodriguez could go out there, come across the cage, eat a couple of shots on the way in, and just starch Gorimbo. It definitely could happen. But I'm not going to bank on it. I'm not going to bet my money on it because I think Themba Gorimbo probably wins this fight a whole lot more than Pete Rodriguez does. He seems to be, well, he's obviously the taller, longer guy. He seems to be the more well-rounded fighter, the more skilled fighter, and I think he's going to get this one done. But that said, sometimes it just is the guy that hits harder that gets the win in that fight. And because of that, you can't just solely bank on Gorimbo. It's not like he's fighting a guy that doesn't have lights out power. So I'm going to take Gorimbo for the fight. I think there's a lot of money coming in on Rodriguez right now. If it's playable, maybe you play him, but for now, it's stay away. Themba Gorimbo's the pick. Let me know where you're at. If you're on the Pete Rodriguez side, I get it. But I can't get there with you. Let me know in the comments if you are. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys. We're in the flyweight division. We have Charles Johnson taking on Azat Maksum. Real quick, I want to highlight the channel members. For $2.99, you can help keep the lights on, get me some more markers for this here board, buy me the notebooks that I write my notes in, the pens to keep the ink flowing, all that good stuff. It's $2.99 a month. It's not very expensive. You get some neat emojis. You also get these little badges next to your name down in the comments section that show your support, how long you've been here. They're cool. I decided what the little icons were myself. I thought it was fun. Either way, I appreciate everyone who is a channel member. It's only $2.99, but I understand that's money that you could be spending on other stuff. So the fact that you're spending it here is greatly appreciated. It does mean the world to me. So thank you guys. Now, that also goes for the Patreon members over there. In fact, that's a little bit more expensive, but I appreciate you guys. All in all, thank you so much. Back to the fight. So Charles Johnson, he's 2-3 in his last 5. Azat Maksum, he's still undefeated at 17-0 on the career, 5-0 in the last 5, obviously because he's 17-0 on the career. Interesting fight here. This one has had me going kind of like, back and forth a little bit, right? Because Azat Maksum came in, bunch of hype, looked good enough to get the win, but it was a close fight in his debut. Could have gone either way, right? It was very close. It was very close. For Maksum, he's got good striking. He's got good movement, and that's kind of, he's got unorthodox movement. He uses it well. Let's put it that way. He's got good straight punches, got heavy hands, and he's durable. This is basically his striking. It's a high output, heavy punching, a lot of movement on the feet. That's what his style is. In the grappling department, he's got excellent takedown entries, and he's got a high output style in the takedowns. The problem is he doesn't hold guys down very well, and that's going to really go hand in hand with what Charles Johnson brings to the table, because the guy doesn't have the best takedown defense, but he gets up very quickly. In his grappling, he's got good scrambles as well. He's got good ground and pound, good submissions, and he's going to put them together. So for Charles Johnson, he's a good grappler in his own right. We've got two guys that have different styles of grappling, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. What I think happens is Azat Maksum takes down Charles Johnson a bunch, but he gets right back up. Now, how long can he control him in these exchanges? How long can he just keep the takedowns coming? That we don't know, and that's going to be the problem for us to figure out, for us to solve. In the striking, I do think Charles Johnson is a better striker as far as technicality goes. I think he's much more technical. He strikes to all levels. He's got good combinations. He puts his punches and kicks together in combination. His body kicks are absolutely crucial in this fight. If he can land a couple of those, as Maksum is dancing around on his feet trying to come in and land those shots, those body kicks are going to be crucial for him. The problem in Charles Johnson's fights is he starts slow and he gives up the first round. He often gives up the second round and then really turns it up in the third and ends up losing a close decision. Charles Johnson can win this fight. He can win this fight. But what I think is going to happen, is Maksum's going to put the takedowns to use. He's going to get that high output style. Johnson's going to keep working back to his feet as he does, but it's going to chew up a lot of the rounds in the early goings, right? There's going to be some movement on the feet and some strikes in the first round. As the round progresses, about halfway through, we're going to start seeing some takedowns. The second round is going to be more of the same. A lot of takedowns from Maksum. Third round, Charles Johnson's probably going to start taking over, at maybe even halfway through the third round. Who knows? But I don't think it's going to be enough. It's going to be too little too late, and Maksum's going to stay undefeated. So Azat Maksum is my pick for this fight. I think I'm going to pass. As a bet. I think this is just a watch spot. See if maybe Maksum is better than he performed in his first fight, and maybe there's a little bit of octagon jitters. We've seen that before. But I'm taking Maksum. All in all, that's where I'm getting to. Charles Johnson, very skilled. He just hasn't put it all together in the UFC thus far. Reflected upon by his 2-3 in his last 5 in a lot of matchups where he probably could have won, and we saw that in his last one. Guys, this is a tough fight. Really tough fight. Kick your feet up on the coffee table, crack open a nice cold root beer, toss that sucker back and have a good time. Enjoy the card. This is going to be one where I'm just going to watch it. Let me know what you have in this one. If you've got a strong take, I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you guys in the friends. How about this handsome fellow right here? This guy took his time, went to the website, 138mma.company.site. It's in the description of this video to get himself a shirt. I'm wearing one myself. They're fantastic. They feel nice. They're soft. They got this cool logo on it with my ugly face on it. Guaranteed to be a conversation starter at any event you wear it to. And if you send me a photo or tweet me or whatever it is, if you do that, you can be just like Daz. Daz, this handsome young fellow right here who took his photo, tagged me in it on Twitter, and now he's in my video. So be like Daz. Go to 138mma.company.site. It's in the description. That's a weird website. I understand. Go down there, click on the website. It'll take you to buy one of the shirts. If you do so, there's still one spot available at the time of me recording this to get entered in our World of Mixed Martial Arts 5 tournament. If you don't know about that, by gosh, I'll tell you about it in a bit. But basically, you can get entered to win a free copy of the game. Either way, there it is. Be like Daz. It's kind of like the Bijove Piper. I should save this one for the next card. But anyway, be like Daz. I'll see you guys in the next fight. Rematch in the women's flyweight division. Diana Belbita takes on Molly McCann. Belbita 2-3 in her last 5. McCann 3-2. Now this is a rematch from Belbita's debut in the UFC quite a while back in 2019. Belbita in this matchup, she's going to be taller and longer. She's got a 5'7" height and a 68-inch reach. For Molly McCann, she's 5'4" with a 62-inch reach. So pretty significant there if you look at that. Belbita, she's a good striker with forward pressure. Very high volume, probably some of the higher volume in this division, I would say anyway. Solid jab. Striking defense isn't the best, but she's very durable. A girl can take a punch, no problem. No problem. She takes that punch. And she just keeps coming. Like, just Terminator forward. And, like, she ate punches from Molly McCann in the last matchup that were very, very heavy shots. and didn't seem to bother her at all. Like the commentary would say, oh yeah, Molly McCann's landing the harder shots or whatever, but didn't bother a bit. In fact, I would say the lighter shots from Belbita were actually causing more problems for McCann in most of the fight than the shots from McCann to Belbita, even though McCann was landing way harder shots. It was kind of strange. But either way, she's got decent Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, very active off her back. She's got a good armbar, but she can be held down, and her submission defense has been suspect in the past. On the other hand, Molly McCann, she's a good striker with aggressive forward pressure. Plenty of power. Like I said, she has good power shots. She's got that kind of bully style, and she'll throw volume while she's coming forward using that power and just kind of bullying her way in, getting you up against the cage or, breaking that range that you've got. She is a bit of a headhunter, though, and that can be good, but can be bad. In this matchup, I don't think it's good because Belbita, durable. Obviously, she took the shots in the last fight, and she doesn't seem to get fazed by it. She does have that really good spinning elbow, but because she's had success with it in the past, she throws it a lot. And it's a spinning elbow, so it's not exactly like a high percentage move. So there is that. She does have decent grappling, and I do believe this is kind of what got her the win in the last matchup. Not because a lot of people are going to tell you that McCann just laid on her for 3 rounds, held her down the whole time. That's not what happened. I definitely rewatched that fight just today before recording this because I had some notes that I wanted to bring up about that specifically. Not what I've written on the board, just some stuff that's not generic notes about the fighter. Either way. But she does mix in takedowns, especially against the cage. And she does that with that bully style, like I said, where she gets you up against the cage, kind of bullying her way in, and then like as she's hitting you or whatever, then she'll get a hold of you and pull you to the mat. She does that. She's got very powerful ground and pound. In fact, there was a time in the second round where I did think that there's chances of getting stopped. But Belbita remained calm, was able to work her way to get her feet to the cage and make some space and, whatever. But here's how that fight went in my eyes. The first round, okay, keep in mind, this is Belbita's debut, okay? She comes in, first round, she's winning that first round clearly outside of the last 15 seconds. If you look at the scorecards, all 3 judges scored it 30-26. 30-26, okay, and I'll explain that in a minute. Belbita, first round, she wins everything outside of, she's winning the fight, not everything. She did get hit, but she's winning the fight up until the last 15 seconds of the first round. McCann gets a takedown. After she gets that takedown, she lands some good ground and pound. But literally just the last 15 seconds did I say, oh, okay, McCann's doing really well right now. And Belbita won that round, in my opinion. I know the last 15 seconds are what the judges think of. I didn't think it was enough to steal the entire round because Belbita had landed a lot of shots. Second round. This round was all Molly McCann. It was the round there was a 10-8, but not for the reason you're thinking. Because Belbita got a point deducted for grabbing the cage and stopping the takedown. It was a good point deduction. The referee did his job. He did a very good job there. It makes sense, right? Whatever. Does that not happen? It's already the fight's 29-28 in my head, okay? But she did grab the fence. She did stop the takedown with it. It made sense. This round, Molly McCann is about to finish Belbita, landing big, heavy shots. But the girl just remains composed, works her way back to her feet. It's a good fight. Okay. Third round, another close round. I slightly gave the edge to McCann, but it was another close round where Belbita landed some good shots, right? It was her debut. It was a long time ago. I'm taking Belbita in this matchup. She's a huge underdog. At the time of recording last I saw, she was like plus 235. I don't know if it's necessarily the best bet, but it's tempting at those odds. She's going to be taller and longer. If she comes out with that volume like she had in that first matchup, literally her first fight in the UFC. Octagon jitter is a real thing. It was close. McCann can be hit. She's hittable. And she's going to be, fighting with a big disadvantage. 6 inches in the reach. I got to take Belbita with the volume. I think she's going to stick the jab out there and just put the striking on her. I think she's going to avoid the clinch because her clinching up is how McCann got the takedowns in that second round in that fight. And I think that cost her the fight. So I'm taking Belbita. It's not my most confident pick on the cards, guys. I'm picking a lot of underdogs here, and I'm going to get a lot of picks wrong on this card, I'm sure, because I've got a lot of underdogs. But it's sometimes you just got to take what the reads give you, and if you're wrong, you're wrong. It's about placing your bets in the right spots. I don't know that this is the spot to place the bet, but I do think I'm going to have to go with Belbita in this matchup. Let me know who you have. I appreciate your feedback. I know it went a little bit long in this matchup, and a lot of you guys are probably like, dude, why is he still talking about this flyweight fight? Either way, thank you. I'll see you next time. Up next, Gilbert Urbina takes on Charles Radtke, and this is an interesting one. Radtke's 5-0 in his last 5, 3-2 for Urbina. Urbina is now a welterweight who was a middleweight. Radtke's had some fights down at lightweight, who's now at welterweight. So that explains the height difference, okay? 6'3" to 5'9" is a very drastic difference. But the reach is not as significant, 75 to 72, but as I've explained in the past. If you're trying to punch a taller guy, you have to punch up at their face, all right? He's 5'9", I'm 5'8". It's an inch difference. They'd be like if I'm punching up at a guy that's 6'2". That's a long way up. And what does that mean if I'm punching like this? Well, that means my reach is even more diminished, because if I'm punching upwards, my arm isn't as long as it is if I'm punching forwards, which is where Urbina is going to be punching, forwards, because Radtke's head on his shoulders, anatomy lesson for you, is above where his shoulders are. So a guy that is that much taller from his shoulders, which is a little bit lower than his head, anatomy lesson, like I said, is punching at the guy's face straight ahead. So that makes that 3-inch reach feel like a lot more of a reach advantage. I have to explain it like stupid like that because it is so simple that people often overlook it. So that is a big difference, even though the reach is only 3 inches. It's the height that makes that reach so significant. So keep that in mind when you're looking at heights and reaches. We're like, the reach isn't significant at all, but the height's really tall. It's a big deal, okay? So anyway, for Charles Radtke, dude's a decent striker. Got good forward pressure, good power, particularly in that lead hook. That lead hook that he's just slams in there, my goodness, it's his best weapon on the feet, right? Striking defense isn't his best weapon. He gets hit a bit, but he is durable. We've seen him take some flush shots from Blood Diamond in his last fight. Did a good job there. He's got good grappling. He looks to advance position, which a lot of grapplers are bad at doing, but he does a good job. He's attacking submissions, and he's very opportunistic with what you give him. When it comes to Urbina, dude's a decent striker. He's got good volume, but again, his striking defense isn't the best either. He's tall, so he's able just to kind of lean back a lot, and that's going to get you caught sometimes. So if Radtke starts putting together combinations, that could be a problem for Urbina. If he doesn't, that lean back defense is going to work all night because Radtke's going to have a hard time reaching him. Now, when it comes to wrestling, Urbina's a decent wrestler as well. He's got decent takedowns, but he mixes them in with his strikes, which makes the takedown that much better. His takedown defense, however, isn't the best. We've seen him getting taken down by people in the past who don't have the greatest takedowns. This is a tough fight, guys. Tough fight to pick. I've gone back and forth a couple of times on this one. It's really tough, right? Radtke got a win over Blood Diamond. Decision win. A lot of people kind of thought, like, probably should have finished that guy. That guy's not that good. Urbina got a win over Orion Kosi. Finished him. Kosi didn't look that good in that fight. He missed weight by a pretty significant margin. Sounds like it was a bad weight cut. Okay, there's that. It's tough, okay? Give me Chuck Buffalo. I think he's going to get it done. I really do. I think he's going to get this one done. I'm not super confident in it, but I got another underdog in this fight, or in this matchup here. I've got another underdog on this card. That's what I'm trying to get at. Either way, give me Chuck Buffalo. Let me know who you have. I'll see you in the next. We have a tricky one in middleweight. We have Mahmoud Muradov. He's taking on Aliashkab Khizriev. This is a tough one, guys. Like I'm saying, Khizriev, undefeated, 14-0 prospect, obviously 5-0 in the last 5. That's how that works. Muradov, he's been in the UFC for a bit now, fought some better level competition than someone like Khizriev, who's still kind of relatively new, had a lot of long layoffs. I don't like that about him, but either way, he's done something right. He's 14-0. For Muradov, he's 3-2 in his last 5, but he had a very close matchup with Kyle Bahayo. And we're going to kind of get into that in a bit when I talk about his grappling. For Muradov, dude's a solid striker. He does his best work at range. He's got long, rangy attacks, whether that be his punches or his kicks. His kicks are some of his best weapons, actually. He does have very good kicks at range. I think that's something that could give someone like Khizriev a problem if he's able to keep the fight at range. He's a good, accurate striker as well. Very good with his counters. And his flying knee is kind of a weapon that, it's a big high-risk, high-reward type of weapon. But he's got a pretty good one, and he's pretty good at timing it. So there you go. We have that. When it comes to the wrestling, he's a good wrestler. I would say Khizriev is the better wrestler. But even though they're both good wrestlers, if you look at my rating here, good isn't – there's levels to good, okay? But he's got a good double leg. He's got great sweeps. In fact, I believe he actually landed a sweep on Kyle Bahayo. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I do believe he did. And when he does get on top, he swarms his opponents with ground and pound. Oftentimes, that's from dropping him with a strike, falling him to the ground, and just swarming. He does a very good job with it. His striking is definitely his best weapon, but he can wrestle if he needs to. Now, for Khizriev, a couple of things I really like and a couple of things I don't like. First thing I really like, fast starter. Dude just comes out of the gate, gets things done. He's a good striker, very aggressive forward pressure. Like I said, fast starting. Those things go hand in hand oftentimes. He's got good volume, and he puts his punches and kicks together, which is something that not a lot of people do. He does a good job with that. He's got good wrestling. He's more of a single leg type of guy. That's what he wants to use to get people to the ground. When he gets them to the ground, he's got a barrage of ground and pound, just absolutely slamming away. And he's got a lot of rear naked choke wins on his resume. And you look at that and you think, oh, he's probably a really good, good back taker and all that stuff. No, not really. He just gets on top with his ground and pound. And when guys are tired of getting hit in the face, they just turn over and give up their back, and he gets the rear naked choke. It's from the ground and pound that he's getting all these rear naked chokes. It's not because he's just a back taking machine. Things I like I said, he's a fast starter. I love the killer instinct out of a guy like Khizriev. That's something you can't teach a fighter. I mean, I guess unless you start when they're like a real kid, like a real little kid, and just like beat it into them. Don't beat your kids. That's a bad idea. Don't try to turn your kids into killers. It's probably not good. It probably turns out that they're not going to be a UFC fighter, and instead they're going to be like, torturing animals or something. So just be careful about that. But for whatever reason, somebody got Khizriev to have that killer instinct, or maybe it was natural for the guy. But he's got a really high output, which is good until it's not. And that means his cardio can fade as fights go on. His physique is less than impressive a lot of the time. He's got a bit of a gut to him. And, with that kind of an output, got a bit of a gut you're carrying around. Yeah, I mean, you're going to fade sometimes. And he does. And for me, I think something like that is going to lean me to the side of Muradov. And for Muradov, I think he's going to be the far better striker. Can he survive the swarm? I don't know. When it comes to grappling, who's going to be better? I'd say Khizriev, but it's tough. It's a really tough one to call. I'm going to side with the higher level UFC experience in Muradov. I think the Kyle Bahayo fight, which was a very close fight, is something that gives me confidence in Muradov's grappling to say that he's not going to get swarmed on the ground. And I think on the feet, he's going to be the better striker. So I'm going to say Muradov is a pick, but it's a close one, guys. Just, probably stay away from this one. But either way, it's dog or pass. Let me know who you have. I will see you guys in the flyweight division. We have Viviane Araujo taking on Natalia Silva. Silva's 5-0 in her last 5 fights, 2-3 for Araujo. She's been fighting some of the top level contenders in the women's flyweight division, but hasn't come out on the right side of a couple of decisions. A couple of fights have just not gone her way, right? But Silva, on the other hand, up and coming. She's doing everything right now. She had a few fights a ways back. As you see, there's 5 losses in her career. She's had a few fights a ways back that weren't really going her way, but she's turned some things around, changed up her game plan, changed up her style, and has come back looking like $1 million. So for Natalia Silva, girl's a solid striker with excellent movement on the feet. She's got a ton of power, and she's got kicks to all levels. Her body kick, though, in particular, is absolutely devastating. That's why I put that little star there, if you didn't notice that. But fantastic body kicks, good striking. She puts together combinations, does it all. She can mix the punches and kicks together. You know what I'm talking about. She's got good grappling as well. The trip takedowns are probably her best type of takedowns. She's got good top control when she gets the fight to the mat. Good sweeps off of her back. We saw that against some pretty good level wrestlers in her matchup so far. When she is able to get that sweep going, sometimes she'll create a scramble, things like that. She can keep up with the high level wrestlers, and she doesn't really have a wrestling style, so that's impressive. She's got good takedown defense though, but like I said, she has been taken down, but she has good takedown defense. She'll make you work for it. On the other hand, Araujo, I keep messing that up. Bear with me, guys. She's got decent power, but the hand speed, she can crack with them hands. It does make that power seem like it's more because it hits so fast, and that's important. She's got good hand speed. She's got good counter punches, and that hand speed comes into play there as well with the counter punching. She's got excellent leg kicks. Her problem is sometimes her striking defense isn't as good because she's looking for that counter and not to defend first. And sometimes that can be a problem, especially against someone like Natalia Silva. Now, with the grappling, she's good there as well. She's got good takedown defense. She's got decent takedowns of her own, and if she can get on top, she's got good ground and pound. But we've seen her fade in fights in the past, and that's a problem for her. For me, the pick is simple. It's got to be Natalia Silva. She's got all the momentum on her side. She's the up-and-coming prospect. She looks fantastic right now. And until proven otherwise, I'm going to have to keep picking her in these fights where where one fighter is kind of coming this way and she's coming this way. Even where they're both kind of coming up, Natalia Silva is just doing it better than most of the prospects in the division, outside of the top, 5 or 10, say. So Natalia Silva is the pick. Let me know who you have, and I'll see you. Next, we get a matchup that was rebooked. We're in the welterweight division. Randy Brown, Muslim Salikhov. If you remember me breaking this one down in a video where the fight just never happened, you're going to get a lot of the same opinions. And it was tough for me to pick back then. It's going to be tough for me to pick right now. I think it's a tough matchup because both of these guys are very talented, right? You look at their record, 17-5, 19-4. Both of them have a lot of wins and not a ton of losses. 3-2 in the last 5 for Salikhov. Pretty good run. He's lost to some pretty decent competition. Now, on the other hand, 4-1 in the last 5 for Randy Brown. That only loss being to Jack Della Maddalena, who's now fighting Gilbert Burns coming up pretty soon. And, well, that's pretty good competition as well. We have a bit of the kind of intangibles on the side of Randy Brown, right? He's 6'3" with a 78-inch reach. Muslim Salikhov is 5'11". He's a 70-inch reach. So big difference there. 8 inches in reach is the biggest differential. Now, the age is also a problem. 33 years old for Brown. Dude's still in the prime of his career, especially in the welterweight division. He's got a couple of years left in him. Now, before he starts to decline, that is. Now, 39 years old for Salikhov. He hasn't looked too bad, but you can see he's just a step behind where he was maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago. So, for Salikhov, the age is catching up, but it's not drastic, or at least it hasn't appeared to be yet. Now, dude's got high-level striking. He's very accurate, very powerful, and his kicks are his best weapon. He has kicks to all levels that are absolutely devastating, but the problem is his output. His output is not great. He's got decent wrestling to go along with this striking. He just doesn't use it a ton. He's much more content to sit back, power strike, look for the open shot, and get his wins from that. But he can wrestle if he needs to. Decent takedowns, very good takedown defense, and he's incredibly hard to hold down if you do take him down. On the other side, Randy Brown. Good striking as well. He uses his length very well, but he does have that lean back style of defense that a lot of tall guys do. And the reason that's a problem, I have to explain this to people in the gym not every day, but a lot of the time. Because when they get tired and they're lazy, and I'm trying to make them duck under I'm holding pads for them. And what happens is, if they get tired, they kind of just do one of these and just like, see, I got out of the way. And then I'm like, yeah, that's great. If I just throw a single shot, you can do that. And that's what a lot of tall guys get in the habit of doing. But what happens is, if I throw that shot and you do the lean back, or, Randy Brown does the lean back. And then, as you lean back, I say, gotcha, it was a 3-2. And I come in with a 2. Well, you can try to lean back further, but you can only lean back so far. And when you've already got all that weight on the back foot, it's much harder to step off that center line. It's harder to get off to the side or zip all the way under, anything like that. So if the opponent's coming with 2, 3, 4 punches in a combination, that lean back defense is very detrimental. I don't think it's going to really be a problem for Randy Brown here, because you're going to see a lot of single shots. Yes, he can put together combinations, but lately in his career, you've seen a lot more single shots. So this may not be a problem for him here, but it can at times. And I wouldn't be surprised if Salikhov is smart enough to realize that and knows when he needs to put his combination together. So no, don't write it off entirely, but there's the lean back defense in a nutshell and why it's bad. The dude's got good combos, though. He's got good kicks, especially that front kick up the middle. And I think if he uses that here, he's going to be able to keep the range where he wants it and not where Salikhov wants it. In addition to that, he's got good jiu-jitsu. He uses his length very well on the ground. Tall guys typically do. They are hard to mess with because they can just lock stuff up. And he does have choking arms by default, right? When you're that tall, that long, and lanky, your arms are going to be thin and slender, and you can slip it right under the neck, and then or under a chin on the neck, and you got choking arms. So either way, if this match was a couple of years ago, I'd probably take Salikhov, but I can't right now, and I got to take Randy Brown because of the intangibles here and the fact that I think he's going to have the better output. And I got to side with the younger guy with a massive reach advantage. So that's where we're at. Let me know where you're at. It's not like the skills are that far apart, so you got to side with the physical advantages. Let me know who you've got, and I'll see you guys. All right, guys, co-main event of the evening. We've got Renato Moicano, Drew Dober, 155 pounds. Guys, I'm going to tell you before I even break this one down, I'm quite biased, and let me tell you why. Here we go. Got that out of the way. Renato Moicano, 3-2 in his last 5. Drew Dober, 4-1 in his last 5. Dober's a solid striker, right? You saw it just a minute ago. Dude's got good forward pressure, plenty of power, good volume. Uses his ability to cut off the cage, especially because he's southpaw. He's going to be cutting off the cage, and he's going to throw combinations from that southpaw stance as he's coming forward, eating shots, because the striking defense isn't the best, but he's still durable. I know he got put down once by Frivola. Yeah, it's one time. He's still very durable. So there we go. We're going to go with it. He's probably going to be able to eat some punches in this fight and not just go down. So he's going to come forward, cut off the cage, throw his combinations, and he's going to use his combo ability, power, volume, and create a ton of pressure on his opponents. That's what he does in every single fight, and he does a good job of it. In the grappling, yeah, his takedown defense is like it's so-so. It's not bad. It's not good. It's kind of in the middle of the road, right? He does work to get back to his feet, and he stays active on the mat when he is taken down. So he's not just accepting bottom position, just laying there. He's going to work to get back up, and we've seen him get back up quite often when he is taken down. However, when somebody fails a takedown attempt on him, he makes them pay quite heavily, whether it's from the strikes or by him, tossing them up against the cage and then working them over there. Sometimes he'll, stuff the takedown, start throwing big shots at him. Other times it's get them up against the cage off the failed takedown and work them from that spot. That's what I mean. He's got great cardio as well. I've seen it personally, seen it with my own 2 eyes, but he's got good cardio and he can go late into a fight and keep putting that same pressure on opponents. Now, Renato Moicano's a dog, right? This guy is absolutely a dog. He will come after you. He's got good striking, a very crisp jab, excellent leg kicks that he works to accumulation throughout the fight. Very good there. He's got good combinations he puts together. And a lot of times when he's throwing these combinations, as he gets opponents to shell up, he sticks that uppercut right up underneath their guard and lands heavily on the chin. Very good striker as well. He's got the solid Brazilian jiu-jitsu background. Now, the jiu-jitsu for Moicano is going to be his best advantage here. If he can get this fight to the mat consistently, I think maybe in the first round he's going to struggle to control somebody like Dober, who's going to be able to pounce back up. But if he's able to get a few takedowns as the fight goes on, he does have good top control. He does have very good transitions, take the back, which is what he does best. And the rear naked choke is actually how he gets most of his wins. Honestly, more of his wins have come from rear naked choke than any other method. So Moicano does have an opportunity on the ground. On the feet, I don't think it's going to be enough. And I think Dober's going to knock him out. And by gosh, I told you I'm biased. Dober's getting the knockout win. I'm going to say early second round. I think the first round, Moicano's tough as nails. We saw him go 5 rounds with RDA and just take a beating and just keep coming. Dober hits a lot harder than RDA, but either way, my pick's Dober, knockout, early second round. Let me know what you have, and I'll see you guys in the main event. All right, folks, main event of the evening. Nasruddin Imavov takes on Roman Dolidze in the middleweight division. Last quick reminder, hey, like the video. I do appreciate it a ton. Let's break this down. Imavov, 3-1 and a no contest in his last 5 fights. That no contest coming from the clash of heads with Chris Curtis. 4-1 on the Dolidze side. That one loss to Vettori, even though I thought he won the fight, and so did many others. Either way, the record stands. It is what it is. This is a wide open division. Both of these guys are just kind of outside the top upper echelon. This is a chance for either of these guys to really put a stamp on this fight as the main event of a fight night, get their name in the top contenders list, and maybe kind of make something of that and get to the title. Because right now, obviously, the longtime champion Adesanya gone. He lost his belt. The title's changed hands again since. Sure, maybe he can come back and get it back, all that good stuff. But right now, he doesn't have a fight booked. He said he was stepping away for a little while. We're just going to keep that as it is for now. And the division's wide open. So these guys are looking to make their stamp, right? Get their mark in the division and get up towards the top. So for Imavov, the dude is a solid kickboxer. He's got very good striking. He's got good footwork and movement, and he darts in and out very quickly. But he does so with his hands down, and that can be an issue because he's going against a guy with a lot of power. We're going to cover that in a minute. But for Imavov, comes in with his hands down. A lot of times, I think it's to give different looks, change the angle on his punches, and also to help kind of with that takedown defense as well. He's got good, accurate strikes, and he's a very good counter striker, and that's where he does his best work is in the counter striking. In the grappling department, he's decent. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, the dude's last name ends in OV. So, dude, Tyler, what are you talking about? He's got to be a great grappler. He's all right. He's not bad. Don't get me wrong. He's not the better grappler in this matchup, though, and I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. But he does have good ground and pound if he gets on top. He does have decent takedown ability. But if he ends up on his back, he's not going to be as strong in this matchup, and he's much weaker off of his back than someone like Dolidze. For Dolidze, he is a grappler through and through. Yes, he has power on the feet. He does have some decent striking, but it's the grappling that gets it done for him. For his grappling, dude's got a massive toolbox. He's a very skilled, accomplished grappler. His takedowns, he mixes the strikes in with it so he can get those takedowns at the end of his striking combinations. And by combinations, it's usually like a 1-2. But either way, and he's got a lightning fast heel hook. A lot of people, they go for the heel hook. The other guy sees it coming, and they try to fish for it or whatever, and then they start eating punches, and then they get knocked out. You're not going to see that from Dolidze. He's quick on the heel hook. He knows when to go for it, when to let it go. You're not going to see something like that. If he's fishing for a heel hook and gets knocked out, please come back to this video and tell me I'm an idiot, because I don't think that's going to happen. But in the striking department, he's definitely not the better striker of the two, but he's the more powerful striker of the two. He's got a very solid 1-2. Two a lot. He has a good step-in knee. I don't know if that's going to be his best weapon here, because I think he's going to want to get the hands going high, aiming for the head, to get the guy who keeps his hands low to bring those hands up to defend, and then that's when the takedowns are coming in. For me, I like Dolidze here. I don't think Imavov has enough power to put out Dolidze with one shot. I think he's going to have to land something good off of a counter, which he's able to do, but I don't think he's going to be able just to put enough power behind it to drop a guy like Dolidze. And I think Dolidze is going to see that, know that, use his power, come forward and get those hands flying, and then get a hold of a guy like Imavov, get him on his back, and make him work from the bottom. And I think that's where he's going to struggle. So for me, Dolidze is the pick. If you think I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. Quick reminder, check out the video or the live stream I'm going to do with the MMA Ecosystems Chris, who is going to be on my channel. We're going to do this here. It's Tuesday. If it's after Tuesday and you're watching this video, well, guess what? Go back. That video's already up. It's totally fine. Thank you guys. Check that one out. If it is already up, I'll probably have it as the end screen. But thank you. See you soon.